the time for our main event of the evening for the real WWE title. Let's face it, the one everybody recognizes. Roman Reigns with Paul Heyman against LA Knight. And everybody was worried, well, and you mentioned, is this going to be a throwaway? Is this going to be LA Knight's only chance? They did everything they could to make him competitive here and to give him every out that he didn't win the belt. And I thought this was a refreshing Roman Reigns match because it was like 20 minutes bell to bell. It wasn't 40 minutes of just constant on and on. They kept it moving, and they got the point across, and LA Knight was competitive the whole way through. Again, the bell for the main event came 3 hours and 15 minutes into the show, and this was only the 7th match. And Roman Reigns' entrance was almost 5 minutes long by itself, but at least they kept it moving, and both guys were over, and the issue was over. And LA Knight opened up hot, which he had to, but every time Roman would stop him, he'd slow it down, but LA Knight would fight back, and they would keep him in the fucking match. And at no point was he really, being toyed with or whatever the fuck. He was selling, but he was fighting back. And again, when Roman gets heat, he milks it. It's methodical, but they didn't let it go so long that remember that one match? Who was it? Was it with Cody, or was it where the trash talking was endless and it just kept going on and on?
There's been a few of those. I think maybe once with Jey Uso, maybe one with Sammy at some point.
Yeah. But anyway, nevertheless, they did a nice yay boo exchange, which LA Knight came out on top of. They did some 2 counts. The people were into it both ways. LA got to do his leap up and superplex, the LA elbow, another big 2 count. Solo comes out with the referees and the agents trying to hold him back. And Jimmy Uso comes out the other side and pulls Roman to the floor. So then LA grabs Jimmy Uso, and he's going to pull him into the ring, and Roman hits LA with a punch and a spear and gets a 2 count. And then gets back on LA Knight, and again, all the interferers were gone. You didn't see anybody. So Solo, the referees, the agents, blah, blah, blah. Roman gets a front face lock, the guillotine to you MMA fans, and holds that for a while, and then LA hot shots him and hits his finish on Roman Reigns that has the cover, and Jimmy, who's been hiding somewhere, was still there and put Roman's foot on the ropes. So LA Knight hit his finish and had him covered. Roman didn't kick out, and it took the interference of the fucking heel to get the rope break. And at that point, LA bails out on the floor and beats up Jimmy and does the heads to the desk, and then Roman's out there and he grabs and does it to Roman too. Suplexes Jimmy through the desk, and then Roman comes from the back and spears LA Knight through the barricade, rolls him into the ring and hits him with another spear, 1, 2, 3. So thankfully better and shorter than many of the long world title matches that get overdone. But I wish that they hadn't speared everybody through the goddamn barricade, because this is a place where, okay, that's a fluke. It never happened in a million years again. That would have benefited LA Knight if we hadn't seen this how many dozens times now. But still, they gave him every out in the world.
Good match. I'm not crazy about him losing a match right now, but I think he could probably talk his way out of this, and the fans won't really care, as long as there's something to do with him next. And we'll see what happens.
I'm thinking there ought to be campaigning for a rematch. And whoever Roman has next before a big event like WrestleMania or whatever, maybe that's where LA Knight comes out and tries to help that person out and stays in the craw of the bloodline.
Would you consider for Survivor Series, since it's a different model and you don't have to really get a bunch of buys, and you already know you have tickets sold, a classic Survivor Series match?
Ooh, LA Knight and a bunch of baby faces against, well, who is Roman Solo Jimmy? He needs another one, doesn't he?
And then they need a couple of hired assassins.
Calling Jacob Fatu. Calling Jacob Fatu.
My thought was this is a way you don't blow through another singles main event. You can have someone get a pinfall because it's a Survivor Series type match and there's eliminations as opposed to the end of the match. There's a lot you could do there to extend things without having to blow through another big match.
Well, but I hate to do it, but I'm going to have to take the piss out of that because Roman Reigns is not at the Survivor Series.
Oh, I didn't realize that, no.
I heard that Roman is not booked at Survivor Series and he'll next be at something in December.
Christmas?
Well, he'll possibly be coming down your chimney, but yeah, it's going to be a while before we see him again. So that kind of puts a crimp in that.
Well, like they always say, how can I miss you if you don't go away every 3 weeks?